Synod listening sessions that we're going to be having here at St. Anne's. The first one actually is this Sunday after the 11:30 Mass. But if you can't make that Mass, then you can always go at other times, and we'll have a schedule of them. They'll be available to you shortly. What these listening sessions are an attempt to do is to help us experience what Pope Francis calls a synod. A synod is a Greek word that means walking together, journeying together, walking the same path and sharing a life of faith. So the Pope is asking us to reflect on and examine in our hearts two levels of us walking together. In other words, being responsible for one another. The first level is the level of our parish, and the second level is the level of the larger church. So on the first level, the level of the parish, the questions we can think about and then maybe provide our own responses to are questions like, how are we doing as far as leadership is concerned here at St. Anne's? Do we share leadership, or is it more a top-down kind of experience? How are we communicating with people, with you, with people who are not really involved in our church? Do people have a sense that we're reaching out to them? Do we let them in on what's happening financially, with what events are happening, what is happening with different aspects of parish life? And another question we can ask is, do we encourage participation in the life of the parish? Or do people find that there are too many cliques at St. Anne's? Do we encourage participation at Mass, and so that we can all worship together? Do we reach out to people in different ethnic and racial communities here in our parish? Do we reach out to youth and families, to people who experience poverty or are on the margins of society? And how do we help the people who feel alienated from the church? People who are divorced and think that the church automatically doesn't want to have anything to do with them, or people who have different sexual orientations, or people who just find life different and they're not sure, like people who are homeless or homebound, and or do we reach out to them? How do we deal with people who are no longer involved in the parish for one reason or another? Those are the kinds of questions we can ask ourselves, because to be a Catholic community means that we want to help each other follow the Lord Jesus. And how do we do that? Do we do it well, or do we think, are there areas where we need to improve? That's what we need to hear from you about, and that's what people can talk to each other about, because we're all in it together. We're ultimately a family doing it together. That's the first level. The second set of questions deals with the larger church, the place that we call very often the Catholic Church. You know, as Catholics, we're part of an archdiocese, we're part of a national church, the Catholic National Church, and we're also part of the Universal Church. So the question we can ask ourselves about being members of this larger community, how is it doing in dealing with people who are on the margins, or people who feel like they're left out, or people who no longer get involved in the church? What ways can what way can the Catholic Church reach out to people? And how can the Catholic Church improve what it's doing? Those are two questions we can ask. How is it doing now, and how can it improve? And when we ask these questions, we can start thinking, well, I don't have any ideas about that, or, well, I think they're wrong about this, or I think they're wrong about that. The point is to share your thoughts. No one's going to say, oh, that's stupid. No one's going to say, no, you're wrong. We're going to listen to each other, try to understand each other, because that's what it means to be responsible to each other and for each other. I hope that helped a little bit with what we're trying to do, what the Pope is inviting us to do. And thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this.